Hello and welcome to another BuildASoil YouTube episode. Today we've got season 6, episode 24, and we're wrapping it up. We're in front of the 4x4 today because, as I told you, we're gonna stagger that harvest. Mainly because this back right one could keep going, but also just because we kind of filled up our drying space, and I don't wanna take something that is in the middle of drying and then add fresh new plants to, because it can adjust all the plants that you'd already had in there and maybe set them back on moisture depending on how big your dry space is. That being said, it was perfect because this one here is like my favorite one and it's starting to really fade. Let me pluck a leaf here. Like, we've just got a beautiful, wow, these are nice and attached still. That's great. Whew. Beautiful like rainbow colors from the leaves blocking the other leaves. And from the Branson's Royal Revenge, we get those like burgundy colors, beautiful. Where in the halitosis side of the parents, you see this yellow fade, and that could go a lot longer, but I'm done in here. We've got a lot going on. I want to plan season 7. So if you look over this way, all the colors on this one's just stopped putting out new growth. And so the trichomes look really good. And if you cascade over this direction, I don't see nearly as much fading. I see more like purple of the leaves and not as much yellow. And so at the end of the day, they're very, very slowly putting out new hairs, and I don't want to wait for like another wave of growth, as these could just continue to go. But the fade looks good. I think we're basically at the end, and so we're day 75-ish right now, and we're gonna harvest them. And I'm gonna hang these, and I'm probably gonna hang them in the back area. To do that, I've got to take the plants that are out of this tent or that tent, I gotta put them in tubs. And so normally what I do is I whole plant hang, especially here in Colorado where it's really dry. And then as I'm getting to that 14, 15, 16, 17 days, I like to go at least past 2 weeks, I start to check for stem snap. And some plants will be fully ready, some may not be, and so I can leave some a little bit longer. Either way, it's safe at that point, in my opinion, to start to plan for tubbing, which reduces the air that's circling around it with the moving air that's in your tents. The more volatile terps can still be released even though you're in that dry window. And so that's why I like putting them into the jars as soon as possible. Once you know you're at that stem snap, it's at 60%, that's about what it's gonna be in the jar. Takes a little experience. Sometimes you feel like, oh, it's too dry, but the moisture comes back out from inside the flower and from inside the stem a little bit. And when you've slow dried it to get it there, it's basically ready. You don't have to burp or anything once you're confident in your capabilities. But at that point, I also like to have full jars. I don't like to have them half full because the air that's in there. And I feel like storage over time, it's not as good as when it's full and you crack it and it's to the lid. And so same thing here. We're in the dry room, there's lots of air moving around, but as it's narrowing that window, either you're getting stem snap slightly early or not quite getting it yet, you can now lower your humidity slightly, 57%, 58%, something where you get that snap. And then from there, I can go into the tub. And if the plant is this big, I'll start cutting it off so that I have lowers, and I'll have all the big branches, and I'll gently place the big branches as long as the tub, and I'll stack them all in there. And then I'm able to put the lid on and know that that would probably dry out if I just left it, but now I'm gonna put it back into the drying environment where I have the humidity kept at 60%. It's in the dark, it's now in tubs, which means I don't have that airflow circling around it, and it's a lot easier to maintain that ideal humidity in the tub. From there, I can now grab a tub and I can trim it when it's time, which is basically from now until I'm done. And because it's more than I can trim in one sitting, that's how I'm gonna manage to keep it as quality as possible. As far as these go, I'm probably gonna just grab down by the stalk and cut all 4 of them, and then I'll undo the screen and pull the whole thing out of here. But it'll take a couple of us, so we'll probably just set the camera down and it is what it is. And I'll take some nug shots, and I'll also grab a couple of the flowers when we're done. We'll go over like a smoke report. Today, what I wanted to do is show you another autoflower that we have growing in a different type of water setup, and it's just in the front of our store, growing under 24 hours of light in a random display for a 3x3 grassroots bed. Just want to show you how well it's doing and what a jungle it looks like. And then I'm going to circle back around where I've actually taken some nugs out of the drying rack, and I don't want to give any smoke reports yet because it's too early, no jar time, but I did want to discuss some of the odors that we're getting, what the flowers look like. And so we'll do that to wrap up today's episode, and that'll get us a little bit closer to the smoke report, the yield report, and all of that. Besides that, we've got season 7 coming up, and I still have no clue what we're doing. So I'm gonna review the last video where some of you made suggestions. I'm gonna be discussing it with the Discord group, and I'm gonna be making plans. And I promise we'll be communicating, and we'll be talking about it really, really soon. Otherwise, Orchid Genetics, this is the Halison, which is a halitosis cross with the Branson's Royal Revenge, and I'm really, really happy with it. Obviously, a little bit of variety in the pack from the parents, being an F1, but I'm really liking this one in the back left. I won't make my final decision until I've smoked it, but so far that back left one looks like to be my favorite. So let's go take a look up front, and then we'll talk about the flower. Okay, so we're here in the front of the BuildASoil retail store. We've got a 3x3 grassroots bed on a pallet. And a customer was here and he had an extra pack of AUTOFLOWER seeds. I don't even know what the breeder was. We put a couple of them in the soil and we've not been irrigating. I've watered in here once or twice just to make sure that the system keeps up, as this is on a pallet, so it breathes a lot from below. But check this out. Look at the size of these AUTOFLOWER nugs that are on here. The odors are really nice. It's really getting dense. Got nice flowers all the way through. The side branches all the way down. And this is under the magnolia, the high grove magnolia. And it's on 24 hours a day. The sun also comes in. And you can see down here, we've got cover crop that's popping. There's beets that are growing in here. We've got a loofah gourd. There is some cantaloupe on the other side. All the cover crop is flowering. A ज़ania flower, big old nug. So I'm having so much fun with this. Now this was kind of a runt, popped like a month after this one popped. But the reason why it was surprising to me is we weren't irrigating in here. And so we'll see what this one does. It's like a month behind this one. This one started pushing a few new white hairs. So I'm probably gonna get a bamboo stake and just stake it up today. It's got a tomato here and it's got full sets of tomatoes on it. So you can see right here by my hand, cherry tomatoes that are populating on it. And the way we're irrigating on this one is through the Thirsty Earth Oya system. And so it's just terracotta, and passively through gravity, this just fills water in here like a cup. And because it's terracotta, it slowly leaks water through, or the plant's roots can kind of grip up under here and start drinking from it. There's 4 in this 3x3, and this is what we've been able to do, literally doing nothing. Like I mentioned, I noticed a slight droop. It's on 24 hours and it's breathing from the bottom. So I hit it with the hose, I think twice the entire time that it's been growing. And it's been, I think, I wanna say day 70, 75 from seed for this one, maybe a little less. And I'll get to harvest this one soon. I was thinking I'd harvest today, but I dimmed the lights over the weekend just to make sure that it was keeping up when I wasn't here. And I see lots of white hair new growth. So we're probably gonna let it go a couple more weeks, see what we get. But I just thought that was too fun. I don't always talk about stuff because I don't want you to run and do it if I've not tested it at all. And I'm having a lot of fun trying these out. So I just want to let you know. But I just wanted to mention that we're harvesting the 4x4. But before we wrap it up, I wanted to take a couple nug shots. I'll write down like the name of the flower right from the drying tent, so it's not seen the jar yet. I'll knock off a couple of the leaves so we can look at it. And then I'm gonna go up front and I'm just gonna talk about the flower real quick. So let's do that and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so I wheeled the cart up to the front of the store. I grabbed a few of the nugs out of the drying tent just so that I could give you an idea of what I'm seeing here. And first off, a couple of the little sample nugs that I took disc golfing over the weekend. And that jar, when you open it in the sun, it's just displaying all of its crystals. It's super greasy, really loud. So I think we're basically, that was on Friday. It's only been a few days since then. So I think we're like right in that perfect window to tub it down, start trimming it and get it in jars. So that really reinforced that with me by taking that early sample. Let's start with the Strawberry Deluxe. So it's hard to see here on the camera. I'll put some close-ups on there so you can actually see what's going on. But the one that was not quite so dark purple, that was a little bit lighter, is so strawberry. I mean, they both are, but it's like the little bit that I've smoked, you can really taste that strawberry coming through, and on all of the different ones. So everything out of that pack had some strawberry in there. There's one in particular, I think it's this one. Yeah, it has the most amount of jammy strawberryness to it. Now, the fruity side of it is, it's not faint, but it's not as in your face as when it's Fuel. And so that's why I really like Fuel. But noticing that everything here is coming through with the taste translation when I sampled it, is burning really clean. I think it's really highlighting the power of that water only and how easy it is to do. And you may not get the hugest buds out of it, but the whole idea of season 6 was to show you, like, you don't have to defoliate and do everything right. You don't have to feed all these different feeders and pH and bloom boost and stuff. And you can get probably more than you require for your own home smoke. And it's really good quality. Now, for season 7, we'll revisit going back to perfectly manicured, boosting, getting a little bit better yield. And I think it's worth it. But I don't want to scare people away from this hobby when, certainly, if you're not smoking an ounce a day and you have a decent sized setup, you can easily grow a plant outside or do a few cycles indoors without really getting weird on it, and you can have some phenomenal herbs. So Strawberry Deluxe by Dominion Seed Company, all of them have a really unique strawberry terps in them, and that I'm really excited about. It's gonna take me to do the smoke report to kind of pick one because they are very strawberry and not a ton of fuel, but there's one in here that's a little bit greasier than the others. And so as I tap into that and start rolling them up, I'll let you know what I think. But right off the gate, for buying a pack that says strawberry on it and for getting strawberry noticeable on the nose across all the different phenos, genos, whatever you want to call it, to me that's exciting because a lot of times you buy a pack and maybe one out of the seeds will be like that. And so you might still be happy with that because all it takes is one. But this would be super easy to narrow down. The dog's breath. So I'll show you a couple here when we show you the close-ups. One is more citrusy and one is more funky, and they are so uniquely different in the jar. The citrusy one, I have to say I'm liking more than I thought. And so we'll see if that stays the same when I do my smoke report. But the citrusy one has like a Jack Hare, sweet, hazy terp to it, but a little bit of lemoniness to it. And it's carrying some of that Chem D funk behind the scenes. I wouldn't say that it's funky, but it's like in it, so that it doesn't taste just sweet, or it doesn't smell just sweet. And so for that, it has me somewhat excited about it. It's really fun to share because the terps are so loud on it. I think anyone that shared that particular terp from the Jack Hare, that you know what I'm talking about, it's really sweet. It's fun to share that because when people smell it, it's in your face loud. They know what they're smelling, and I do like that. Where this funky one, it's there, but it's a little bit more subtle until you crack it. When you crack it, it's raunchy. And so I really like how this one tastes, how it looks, but I wanna get some jar time. I wanna be true to the smoke test. So far, I'm like having a lot of fun grabbing a couple earlies from the dog's breath. The one that came like just out of left field for me was the Coop by the Funk. And I'll show you a close up. One of them is a little more like a Master Kush, flat top, bigger nugs, and the other one's a little bit more like spear golf ball-y, but smells both of them. Real like OG Kush with banana in it, like creamy, and maybe not banana, maybe that's like just my brain picking it up, but something unique about it that actually surprised me to the point where I want to run it again. I'm actually like, I was kind of, because I made the seeds, I'm like, whatever, I'm more interested in the other ones. But when these came through, I'm like really, really excited about the level of frost that's on here, the greasiness. Like, these are show-off nugs. They have great bag appeal, really good structure, super dense, and that unique creaminess to that funk I'm really excited about. So I will be doing an update on a smoke report. Hopefully the little bit of nug shots that I showed you come through on the screen. I know some of you have mentioned, are you gonna get better camera, all of this stuff. The camera, we're not uploading at the maximum capacity, like 4K. And some of the longer episodes, it's really hard to do. So maybe there's some possibility there. I would love to do better at nug shots. A lot of times what happens is I end up working most of the day doing a lot of other stuff in the company. And so to go take nug shots and set them up on display and get the camera out, for those of you that do camera work, you'll know it's like a full-time separate job. It could take hours. And what happens is during that time, I'm getting just like, oh, I have other stuff to do. I have bills to pay. I have employees to work with. I want to see what Dan's got going on. I want to see what Eric's got going on. And so it keeps me probably from being as good as I could be with a lot of this photography stuff. But I promise we want to get better every single season and every single year. So we really appreciate you guys. Other than that, I'd like to wrap up the episode and we're going to get to that smoke report. I'd like to hear more from you about what you think for season 7. And I promise there'll be more communication as we start to set plans. Because that smoke report, and I've got a lot of trimming to do, is a ways off, I'll probably have time for another FAQ. So go ahead and drop some questions in here. Otherwise, as usual, like, subscribe, tell your friends about this. And until next time, I'll see you on the next BuildASoil episode.